Okay, well, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Aubrey Marker, and this is fall 2010, I'm sure you know that. And I'm a student teacher at Barclay Ruiz Academy in the 5th grade.
Great, very good. All right, Aubrey, well, we're going to ask you some questions, and these questions, your answers to these questions will be shared with future student teachers.
Okay.
What did you learn this semester about yourself and the act of teaching learning?
I learned about myself and about teaching is that you have to be prepared. But you also, at the same time, have to be prepared to trust your instincts. Because there's a lot about teaching that I've learned is instinctual because so many things change from day to day. Just as soon as you think you've established a routine or you have a schedule, it's going to change. And so you have to adapt to that change, and you have to be able to be creative within all of that change. So being creative, trusting your instincts, I learned that I have to really think and work ahead as far as possible. And I actually ended up getting kind of twisted in my mind a little bit until I became comfortable with it. But you don't just have to think a week ahead, you have to think 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even the whole year ahead eventually once you get a little more experience. I learned that teaching is intense. It's very complex. There's a lot of things that you're balancing and juggling at one time, but that it's also a lot of fun and it's rewarding when everything goes into place because you put it there, and then some things end up falling into place. It's a lot of fun and it's really rewarding, and there were a couple of aha moments, light bulb moments that my kids had and that I had that really made it all worthwhile. So.
Okay, what would you have done differently this semester during student teaching?
I would have sought out support from other people in my class and from my supervisor and from my teacher a lot more than I did, and a lot sooner, without feeling like I regretted it or taking it personally. Because really, if you have if you're at a school where you work as a team, that's so important. And you have to be comfortable asking each other for help, because you are a team and you need to be a team. Otherwise, it's just overwhelming and you can't really be a loner. You've got to work together with other people. And the more that you seek out advice, the more you're going to learn. And I wish that I would have maybe talked to the administration more, not felt kind of intimidated that I was taking too much of their time, because it ended up that I talked to the CIC quite a bit, the curriculum and instruction coordinator, while I was here, and I learned a lot from her too. And I mean, of course, the majority came from my cooperating teacher, but don't be afraid to ask other people for advice or help with things. Don't be afraid to ask. I also wish that I had been more consistent with some of the things that I did in class. I kind of felt like, even though I know this is a time to explore and to experiment, sometimes I wish that I had been more consistent with some of the things I was doing, because I think that the kids kind of felt like guinea pigs and I felt like a guinea pig, and that created some tension sometimes. But I know that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. But I think that maybe if I could have stuck with one or two things that I was more consistent with, especially in classroom management, I think it would have made it a little smoother.
That's a good thought.
Yeah. I mean, at least stick to one or two things. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's a very good thought. Okay. Anything else about doing things differently?
Well, I think that it'll kind of come up with the next question that we're going to talk about, but I did try to work, and I wish I would have quit earlier, but I did eventually end up quitting working my part-time job, and that really took a lot of pressure off me when I did that. And I know not everybody is in a situation where I always can do that, but if you possibly can, do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I went to school full-time and I worked full-time before this, and I was able to handle it, but it's different. This is different. It's definitely different.
Very good. Okay, well, what advice do you have for the student teachers in the future?
Organized, be organized. You might think that you're organized now, but the amount of organization, the level of organization that you're going to need to have is going to be even higher than what you think you have.
Mm-hmm.
I know that before I am teaching in a regular classroom situation, that I'm going to have to really configure the way that I organize myself. I tried to be this semester, and I was partially successful with it, but organization is really important, especially when you're thinking about all those times when you might be working on your instincts. It's much better to know where everything is than to spend half your time worrying about finding things.
Mm-hmm.
I would say time management. Make sure you're managing your time very wisely.
In the classroom?
In the classroom and outside of the classroom. Outside the classroom. And that doesn't necessarily mean, the third thing I have down here is to take care of yourself. Which means, yes, you need to be completely committed to the program and to the students and to the things you're supposed to be doing, but also be sure that you're taking a little bit of time so that you have breathing room. Find something that you like to do. Like, I gave up going to yoga, and I wish I wouldn't have done that, because I think it would have been very, very good. So when I'm actually teaching, I'm going to make that a non-negotiable. Say, yeah, I have a lot of work to do, but 3-4 times a week, I'm going to do my yoga, because it's going to make those other things a lot easier in the long run for me. And just take care of yourself in general. Eat right. Try to get as much sleep as you can. And those are things that I think if you do those things, it'll help out a lot.
Those are good suggestions. Those really are.
Yeah.
Really are. Okay, do you have anything else you want to share? Any comments at all?
I think that being in the classroom for this long of a period makes me realize, and seeing how a school works and how teachers work, it makes me realize that it's something that is constantly changing and constantly needs to change for the benefit of the students. I really see, there's the Nell Noddings about caring in schools, that it's so important. And I think that's one of the things in this school that makes it so different from other schools that I've been to, is that the administration and the teachers here genuinely care about the students. And that's something that I'm really going to be looking for if I get my druthers when I find a job. And that I'm always going to incorporate into my teaching, because it's not just a job. It's really not. It's not, because you're really you're a caretaker. You're a sounding board. You're a role model. You really are. So it's so much different than just working a 9-to-5 job where you're sitting behind a computer and all that. No, it's very, very different. But that's what makes it so good.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, Aubrey. Well, thank you very much for your comments, and I know you're going to succeed.
Thank you.
Wherever you go.
Thank you.